Oh, wait, here we go. Here we go.
What's that little,
Yep.
okay.
Is it recording?
Left corner, right? Yeah, it says record.
Yours says record,
Yep.
yes.
I think that means we're recording. Or is that what I'm supposed to press? What happens now?
You need to press it.
There you go. You're on.
Okay, now we're official.
Wow, we're really good at this.
All right, so we'll do it. We'll try to be as official blabbers as we can. You know, it's such a new platform. Everybody's learning. I've only been on a few myself. This is only my second one hosting. I'm always a guest, trying to learn from other people, and then I can get off when I really mess up. So anyway, so it's just it's a fun platform to share the story of fundraising. And the cool thing is that you can tweet it out and get it on Facebook and everything. So I'll start with, I'm finally meeting Christy for the first time. I'm Kristen Smedley, and I'm the president of the Curing Retinal Blindness Foundation, which is what this is going to be centered on. In the future, we'll have all different foundations coming on this Rare Blab to talk about all kinds of things. But the topic that everybody wants to talk about always with rare diseases is fundraising. And since it's baseball season, and since you guys had such a great event that you can talk about, I thought this was a great venue for talking about what it is that you guys did with a college softball team and a family with a rare disease, working for a foundation and really spurring some really good fun. So why don't we introduce Lisa next? You introduce yourself and what this is all about.
Well, my name is Lisa Billingsley. I'm a member of the board of directors for Curing Retinal Blindness Foundation. I'm married to my husband, Greg, and we have 4 kids, 3 boys and a girl. And my youngest little boy, Jacob, was diagnosed at the age of 2 with Leber's congenital amaurosis on the CRB1 gene mutation. And ever since he was diagnosed, we just hit the ground running and, have been fundraising ever since. And it's just kind of amazing how one little thing leads into so many other things.
Very good. Okay. And then thanks to your friendship with Christy, we have Christy here. Christy, give a shout out of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, my name is Christy Bredbenner. I'm the head softball coach at Wichita State University, and went to high school, grade school with Lisa, played softball with her growing up. Her mom actually coached our softball team when we were little, and, been friends with her for a long time. We are always looking for some sort of fundraising platform to jump on. Obviously in college athletics, a lot of the cancer research and things like that is generally what most of the teams use for their fundraising. And, sometimes that gets not necessarily old because obviously everybody's in need of funding for cancer research and things like that. But, when you don't really have a relationship with what you're fundraising for, I don't feel like you get emotionally invested. And, I had seen some things that Lisa had put on Facebook about, Jake and what he was going through and the little lack of funding that they had, and reached out to her and just decided to try something different with our softball program. And, we had a Curing Retinal Blindness Day last year and ended up selling the blue t-shirts that Lisa has on and, doing a little bit of research on what it was about and educating people. And then this year, instead of doing a cancer game, we ended up using that as our fundraiser game. And we had Adidas donated some jerseys for us. We had them screens with chakras on them, and then we auctioned those off to anybody that was interested in buying. And then all of the profit that we made from the auction, have you even gotten a check for it yet? I have no idea. I haven't seen the money yet, so I don't know. You don't think so?
No, it took a couple months last year too.
Okay. So it probably might be one of those things that at the end of the year, they end up cutting the check when it's the end of the fiscal year. But I know we ended up making a pretty good chunk of money and obviously ended up selling the t-shirts again, doing the auction. And the big thing for us is we ended up finding a family here in town that had been affected by it with 2 of their children. And we're able to bring, both families together, let all 3 kids throw out the first pitch of the game, and really make people a little bit more aware that there's a lot of diseases out there that are not getting the funding needed to help find a cure. And, every little bit helps. And that's kind of what our focus was.
Awesome, awesome. So you touched on the fact there was another family, and I wanted to touch on that today, that we had another family that had not been active in fundraising. They've been busy. They've got all kinds of stuff going on with all of their kids, and this opened a door for them to get involved. So at least talk a little bit about how you were
Yep,
able
it
to
was
do that.
perfect.
Yeah, it kind of was crazy, and I think that's kind of the message that really we will, that all of this comes about. You start, you do one thing, and then weirdly enough, another door opens and another door opens. And here we are, Christy and I have been friends for our entire life. Um, Oddly, she lives in Wichita. I live in Kansas City. Neither of us even live where, our hometown. And here we are in Wichita with playing a softball game for my son. And one thing led to the next, and we just did a little research and a little digging, and here we ended up finding a family who's a great big Shockers fan who actually has 2 kids with LCA CRB1. And so we reached out to them. They were awesome. They were thrilled to be part of it. And really, they ended up doing a great news story on them. And I feel like that was their little nudge to go further. I think that's the scariest part of all of this, is just knowing where to begin. And here it just unfolded for us, and that was the neatest part to me. And so now I have this relationship with Brady and his kids, and without any of this happening, that would have never happened. And I feel like it's just the next step.
Yeah. So 2 of the things you said are my favorite parts of this. First of all, you know what it's like trying to put an event together. And you've got to get the people, you've got to get the word out, you've got to do all that. And what I love about this is the people are already coming for the team. The team has all that draw and those connections. And now tagging into that, our mission and our purpose, the people are already there. Like we just did the event at Penn Orphan Rare Disease Center does a $1 million bike ride. So we gathered a team of bike riders, we did fundraising, and we went to their event, and every single dollar that was raised came to Curing Retinal Blindness Foundation, all the money we raised, and all the individual rare disease teams were able to do that. But it's such a different thing when you can tag on to another event that's already happening, when you can partner with this. So we're partnering with a team that already draws the crowd and already has it on the schedule and already has permits and stadium and all that kind of stuff is great. But all of that sounds wonderful. Christy, maybe you can talk just for a couple minutes on how you navigate, like I know you guys had this interesting, you already have a relationship. So that was probably some people might think, well, that's easy because they already had a relationship. How do you navigate if somebody wants to partner with their local team? What would you suggest that they do?
Well, obviously, you got to get to talk to them a little bit earlier in the year. I think that, last year when we did this, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. And, this year when I talked to our marketing department in athletics, I said, hey, I want to make sure we plan this date. I want to give us plenty of time, and I want to make it a much bigger deal than we made it last year. We met in August or September and talked a little bit about at least a date and having something in mind. And, we're at least, in our opinion, able to organize ourselves a little bit more. And in doing stuff like that, you give yourself some chances for fundraising as far as sponsorship and things like that. So my big thing is that I wanted to get rid of as much of the expenses as we possibly could, because the more expenses that we can get somebody else to cover, the more profit we can obviously give to the cause. And, that was why we reached out to Adidas, and softball-wise, we have a contract with Adidas and have a great rep and somebody that, I feel like we can go to when we have issues or have something like this come up. And they usually, step up to the plate and do a nice job for us. And, right away, he donated, I think 24 soccer. We used soccer jerseys because they were the easiest to get versus softball jerseys. But, dry fit soccer jerseys, and then, really our only expense was the paying for the screening, and that was like $6 or $7. So, if we were able to sell each one of those jerseys for $40 to $50, we're making a pretty sizable profit per one. And I think that was our first step, was trying to figure out exactly what we wanted to do. The next step was promoting it. I'm pretty fortunate enough here that we have a lot of good contacts in the media. And, I called up one of the sports anchors for KWCH, Danny Wolniak, and asked her if she'd be interested in doing more of a special piece, on this situation versus it being like a sports story. And she was immediately intrigued, came over to my office, interviewed me, and then we were able to use Brady and his family as the piece that kind of connected Wichita to the Curing Retinal Blindness Foundation and Shocker Softball. And so it was just kind of piecing it together. And I think when you fly by the seat of your pants, you're going to miss all those little things. And so I think, being organized, having an idea of when you want to do this, kind of what your goals are and things like that, that was a huge part of it. And I think probably one of the main reasons that we were more successful this year than we were last year. And then the nice thing for us is that if this is something we can continue to keep doing, the awareness of it becomes a bigger deal. And I think you get more people involved. Last year, Green Vision Group paid for the T-shirts. So again, there was no cost involved in any of it. They paid for everything. And we were able to continue to keep using those T-shirts this year. So everything that we sold T-shirt-wise became profit. And, I think the more people that you get involved and become aware and connect, I think that you're going to have a lot more success. Brady's family, when I talked to him, talked about a facility in downtown Wichita that his kids go to. And I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was some sort of vision facility. And he said that they're a big time company that would like to probably get involved. So they are also a nonprofit. So, there could be a little bit of they may not want to get involved a ton because they don't want to take away from their own fundraising efforts. But at least the people that work there and things like that can go and see that, hey, there's other people out here that are trying to do good for a disease that has very little funding, very little knowledge. And, I think that was all about those connections. I mean, again, it goes back to Lisa and I, have been lifelong friends, so it's easy to want to do something helpful for her. But there's so many little pieces that ended up connecting this year. And I think the longer and longer you do some sort of cause and you keep it similar to what you're doing, those connections just keep spreading out and you get more people involved and people excited about it.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great info. Lise, walk us through for just a couple of minutes what the day, like, what is it everyone wants to know? Okay, how did it actually look? What was it like? You did some stuff on the front end to get publicity, but then when you get there, what did you guys do?
Really, I mean, Chris,
she just lets her kids run around like maniacs.
That's how I roll, Yeah, there we go. I mean, really, Christy did just such an amazing job being such a great host. And, it was incredible to go to such a nice stadium and watch such a Division I team that in itself was just so fun. And the fact that, there were tons of people there and, we walked in, we kind of felt like celebrities, the players were high-fiving us. And, of course, it was so great to see Christy. And it just was, I absolutely adored it because, this is a whole huge, big piece of my, my entire life has been softball. And here we are, with Jacob. And so it was awesome because my family was just incredibly proud. We walked in. The first year they had read part of our story about Team Jake and our family when we were on the mound. Jacob threw out the first pitch, all these great pictures, and then we all had our shirts, and then we just stayed and hung out and had a great time at the game. It's such a great fundraiser because it's fun. And I think that's the best part of, I think that's the key to every fundraiser. It needs to be, you want to be there, and we wanted to be there. It just was, my kids ate themselves silly at the very expensive concession stand. And they threw out gum. Oh my gosh, they threw out gum, which I could have done without, but
Kids love it. Kids love gum. I don't know why.
Yes.
Just love
Christy,
it.
why do they throw out gum? Tell me why. I forget. Why do they throw out?
Well, they throw out
double
bubble every time we turn a double play.
Double play.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay, so which it just was so fun, and I just think that, like I said, that is what people, gets people to come back every year. It's the fact that it's a good time, not just for raising money for a good cause. This is Shocker softball. Everybody wants to be there. It's just a good time.
Awesome. So the kids threw out the first pitch.
They did. Jacob was, I would say, just a bit outside on his second pitch.
That's awesome.
Although he thinks it was like, a burner down the middle, but, not really. But whatever, he thinks he is famous. So he puts that softball to show and tell. He loves it. And the cool thing that Christy did, she also coupled it on a very popular day. It was also Kids Day there. So kids got in free, which brought in other people, not just people, because people really don't know about curing retinal blindness unless they're part of it. And so, she did a great job of coupling it onto that day that other people it was going to be a busy day as anything. There was, we were playing a good team. It just all was well thought out on how to get people in the stands.
Very good. So where did the fundraising come from? I know the jerseys were signed and auctioned, right? And they were donated. You sold T-shirts. And was that the extent of fundraising, or was there anything else?
I think we set a jar out that just said, hey, if you just want to make a donation or, whatever, you could definitely do that as well.
Jars. Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know about I kind of think last year, did Wichita add something to the pot in the end? It kind of seemed like they did. Like they had added a little bit of extra money.
I don't think so, because I don't technically think they could do that. They can't. I think everything that we made was money that we made, and I think some parents paid more. They might have donated $50 and they only had to donate $25 or something like that. But I'm pretty sure that all the money that we've made in the past has been pretty strictly based off of, the T-shirt sales and stuff like that. Because since we're a non-profit athletic department, even though we probably make some decent money in our athletic department, being able to just make a donation, for a cause without having like the money to do it from, the sale of something generally doesn't happen.
Right.
Okay.
Well, they were.
I'm pretty sure that was all the money.
We're so appreciative of the generosity of everyone who was there. It was great.
It's awesome. It sounds like such a cool event. I was following some of the social media stuff. It was great. So, all right. So all of this is it's making it sound easier and easier as I'm listening to you guys. I know it's not easy on your end, Christy, especially you guys with having to coordinate that stuff. But it does sound so doable and repeatable. That's what we're trying to do. And what we'll do is add it to the website of, like a little checklist, like all the stuff, Christy, that you mentioned. We did it in advance and I had a media contact, and we're putting together a toolkit for fundraisers, but we'll put some specific to this event of a checklist that people can just easily duplicate. And it's such a, pardon the pun for being softball, but it's a win-win because, the players I have coached for years, and I always find that when they're coming together, the players are coming together for something bigger than their win or, just playing the game. It just has such a bigger impact for them. So I'm feeling like it's such a great thing for the players to be involved in, and then my other piece is I'm visualizing this. It's so hard for blind and visually impaired kids to understand what that big field is like. So the fact that our kids, our CRB1 kids, got to get out there on the mound and on the field, they get a better understanding of how far the bases are, how far the pitching mound is, that kind of thing. So it's just, and then the awareness of our foundation to that many people in the stadium is ginormous. I mean, it's huge. So in thinking of the stuff that you were able to do and the success you've had, have you had any thoughts on additional things? I mean, you never want to tweak things too much and ruin a great event, but did you have any thoughts on stuff that you would want to add to it for next year as you're growing it, or things that you tried with it and thought we are not doing that again?
I think the big thing on our end is just, each and every year kind of coming up with a good game plan. And, we deal a lot with marketing graduate assistants, and so they change every other year. And, some of them come in with some different ideas and things like that. And, I thought, like Lisa said, this year, coupling it with Kids Day was huge because that created, obviously for every kid that was there were some parents there, and, it helped pack the stands a little bit. We also were having our big booster barbecue that afternoon out beyond the outfield fence, and so that helped out with creating a little bit more buzz too. I think from our end, just making sure that we continue to just create that media buzz and different outlets, and social media has made advertising so much easier, and I think that we can continue to keep doing a better job of that kind of stuff. But like you said, you hate to, you start asking for more or doing more things, and obviously I think that takes away from your cost and or adds to your cost, and I think then that takes away from your profit. And the bottom line is we want to be able to generate as much money as we possibly can from our end. And we'll always continue to evaluate every year in the summer. We look back and see how we did in our marketing plan and what we can do better, and we'll look at different things. But the bottom line is I think that we're moving in the right direction, and I think that it's something that we can continue to keep doing and making money for this program. We'll just try to continue to create more buzz about it and get more people involved as far as attendance, I think.
Awesome. So you mentioned social media. This might be off topic, but it might not. What channels are the college kids on that you've seen them on? What platforms are your players using?
Most of our girls are on obviously Twitter, Snapchat, a little bit of Facebook, Instagram. Those are probably the big four. I know we started using, hold on. I have to get off my phone to look at it, but we have that live video account. I forget what it's called. Is
Periscope? Or Facebook?
Periscope,
yeah,
yes.
Periscope.
So we have Periscope. Now we have to be a little bit sensitive to Periscope when it comes to softball because we have production rights by ESPN, so we can't Periscope a game, but we could Periscope pre-game, the girls getting ready in the locker room, what we're doing on the bus, things like that. The girls don't use it a ton, but man, we felt like we got a ton of followers. We actually Periscoped our games when we were at South Alabama, and then when we got back, found out we weren't supposed to do that. So we, in that one weekend, they didn't have them on television, so we were like, well, there's no rights at all if they're not on TV, in my opinion, from another school. So, we found out. So in that short weekend, we ended up getting tons and tons and tons of followers that were looking for, live feeds and, what they couldn't travel. So that was the next best thing.
Oh, cool. And I asked because, it's sort of off topic, but not really, because what we want to be able to do on our end when these events happen is promote it and be in the space where the teammates will be, and then they can see, that their effort is reaching all the different platforms. I have a group of middle schoolers and high schoolers that swear this summer they can teach me Snapchat and I will retain it after they teach me. They tried to teach me last year, and every time our meeting was over, 24 hours later, I didn't know what I was doing. I can't find anybody. I can't follow my own story. So they're going to teach me. And Periscope's a good platform. So is Facebook Live. That's been working for us too. But we'll make sure that it's part of our plan too this year is to see where these, the different groups, the events, where the participants are in terms of social media platforms, and making sure we're responding and sharing and connecting with them there. Because it's so important that it just adds such an element. It elevates the whole mission and gets people really engrossed in participating and sticking with it when they can engage like that. So Periscope, good to know. I'll find you guys on Periscope. I'm still learning that one too. All right, good. And then I didn't want to take too long, so we're already at 1:30. Any other additional thoughts for somebody that wants to duplicate this in their own hometown with their team?
I think from my end, you can't be afraid to ask either. I just think that especially if you've got a college team or, you have some sort of relationship with a university, a high school, a travel ball organization, whatever it is, it's not going to hurt to ask, hey, would you guys be interested in doing this and, trying to jump in our cause a little bit more? Do you do a game for a cause? Because especially in college, almost every sport, I mean, you look at our Wichita State athletics, and every one of our female sports, women's volleyball does a pink game, women's basketball does a pink game, and then obviously for us, we did the retinal blindness game. And, everybody seems to do a cause. All of our teams in our conference, have some sort of cause. And I just think sometimes people are looking for something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you know that there's a lack of funding in a certain area, and you know that money is going to go a long way, it makes your willingness to work with that cause, I think, grow even more. When you do the pink game, and it's obviously nothing against breast cancer, but there's a lot of people fundraising money for breast cancer awareness.
Yeah.
It gets millions upon millions of dollars, and so it's kind of nice to jump on something that doesn't have that funding. And I think that that's a good sell. When you have something that doesn't get the funding that everything else does.
Awesome, love it.
And I think the whole moral of the story here is, is the social media part of it all. You never know who's watching. You never know who's watching this right now, and the next thing's going to unfold. And that's just where it begins. You have to have the courage to try. You start, you get out there, and lo and behold, here we're doing the softball tournament back in St. Louis, and the entire time, my dear friend Christy over in Wichita is watching. And I don't know this, but, until she calls me and she says, hey, Lise, I've been watching all of this. I have this great platform. I want to help, and here's the way I can do it. And I think that's just the whole moral of the entire, have the courage to start, throw yourself out there, and who knows who's watching and where it can unfold. I mean, it just has done nothing but unfold for us. One little thing that ended up, we wanted to have fun and make some money along the way has now just rolled into this amazing realm of softball all over, all the way to Wichita, which is just, I mean, I can't believe, to this day, right now that Christy and I are sitting here talking. We have been best buddies our whole life. We have
Awesome.
goofed around our whole life, and now here we are raising money for my little boy, and nothing could make me prouder or happier.
That's awesome. And then you mentioned September. So give a shout out to what the event is coming up in September.
Well, our 4th annual RBI September Slam is set to, right now we might be changing the date at probably the 17th and 18th of September. It's in St. Paul, Missouri. It's a small little town outside of St. Louis. It's just a slow pitch softball tournament. It's $200 to enter. And really the awesome thing about this tournament is that it's of course about the softball, and it's also just about come out and see your old friends. It's just a great event as far as fun. It's fun for kids. It's fun for the adults. We have so much more than just softball. We have a great big barbecue. We have a great big shoe sale that one of my Christy and I, both other friends, donates tons and tons of shoes and brand new shoes, and people come and Christmas shop. It has a little bit of everything.
I love it.
And it's just a blast. It's just a real blast. So if you can find St. Paul, Missouri, I guarantee you a good time. Definitely.
Awesome. We'll put all the information on the crv1.org site for that when everything is ready. And as well as next year when you guys do the Shockers Day again, we'll have all the information there. So thank you, both of you, so much for putting the event together, for making it the great thing that it is, involving a second CRB1 family, which was fantastic, and for taking the time today to teach everybody how this is so doable and repeatable, and it's a ton of fun. So you guys definitely put the fun in fundraising for this one. Good stuff. But thank you both for being here.
That's what we're good at. So.
We'll keep following the softball team.
All right. Well, thank
Thank you very much.
Thanks everybody that watched. See you.
Bye, guys.
Yes, bye.